okay as long as the partners involved enjoy it. What's normal sex and what's not? Today on Dr. Dean.
And now, please welcome Dr. Dean Adele.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Welcome to the program. You know, our sexual tastes are just as varied as our food tastes, and yet we're pretty close-minded about sex. We've even put consenting adults in jail for their sexual practices, and I'm not talking about prostitution. Well, today, you're going to meet a sexologist who says that any sexual practice that's enjoyable to adult partners is okay. And we'll meet people who have sex in ways you've probably never heard of. At least I've never heard of them. But first, let's see what we got in the old black bag. Well, we got hot stuff, and we love it. And no, we're not talking about sex. We're talking about food. Mexican food, Chinese food, Thai food. We're gobbling it up, but not without a price. Those peppers can burn. And that's because they contain a molecule that grabs a hold of your taste buds and won't let go. It's kind of a pit bull of molecules. And gallons of cold soda and water and beer just don't help. So what can you do? Well, the AMA to the rescue. They say that there is something that does work. It's milk, and it tears away those pit bull pepper molecules, say that 3 times fast, that are clinging to your palate. Of course, you may have no interest in getting rid of that peppery taste, since that's why you eat it in the first place. Now let's talk about your skin and what's good for it. Natural is in, and aloe vera is one of the most popular natural ingredients. It's in everything, from shampoo to deodorant. And it's best known for its amazing ability to heal scratches, burns, and cuts. But does it work? Well, doctors tried it on women whose surgical wounds had become infected. Guess what? They had to terminate the study when they found that the group using aloe vera were not only not healing faster, they were taking longer to heal, almost twice as long as a group getting standard care. Now, aloe vera's reputation was built in some studies on animals that showed it might help heal wounds, but when you put it on humans, sorry folks, the jury is still out. Well, just as aloe vera is in vogue, so is sex. Take a look at our media, from magazines to music to movies. It seems we're pretty open about sex. But the truth is, we're very closed and uptight about it. Europeans are much more accepting of sexual variations, and it's funny that the most sexually open countries have less sexually transmitted diseases, fewer unwanted pregnancies, and the highest rate of adolescent virginity. I hate to say it, but we are pretty intolerant of people that are different, sexual preferences included. Keeping that in mind, I want you to meet someone. Tommy, welcome to the program, Tommy. You are into a practice called infantilism. I never learned about that in medical school, but it's evidently where one partner dresses as a baby and another as a parent. Now, we have some videotape of you in action I want to show people first, right? Just take a look.
How's my little baby? Michelle, come to Daddy. Oh, that's my little angel. Oh, do you know how much I love you? I love you. You're such a sweet little girl. You're my sweet baby. Let me see. Your diaper's wet. Yeah, we'll get you into something nice and dry, comfy. Got you some blocks. Yeah. Good num-nums. There we go.
Well, audience, I can tell by the looks in your faces, unusual and different, and that's one of the reasons we're doing this. All right, Tommy. I understand you usually prefer to be the baby. Can you communicate to us, because most of us don't understand this, communicate to us how this sexually excites you?
Well, I like being a baby. I love the feeling of being taken care of and loved and nurtured. And when my diaper is changed with the baby powder and the baby lotion, that's really a sensual thing for me.
Mm-hmm. Do you wear diapers just for sex play? Do you wear diapers all the time?
I wear them all the time.
You're wearing them right now?
Yes, I'm wearing them right now.
That's part of creating this world? Explain that to us.
Well, not everybody who's into this kind of a scene wears them all the time. But I do, and I like the feeling of it. It just feels comforting to me.
This is your partner, Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Welcome. You dress like a baby more for emotional reasons, is that right? Can you explain that to me?
Yes, it's all emotional. It's a very positive, safe feeling that I get, and I like the nurturing that I feel with my partner.
Mm-hmm. Tommy, you both prefer being babies. Is it hard to find people to act as your partners? Is there a large group of people, small group? How do you go about that?
It's relatively hard. It's a fairly small group, and most of them want to be the babies. So it's hard to find a parent.
Audience, you got something to say about this? Here.
Well, I just wonder what happens next. What did we not see? You know, do they have...
Hey, give me that microphone. You can use your imagination, you know. This is an audience without an imagination. Other thoughts and comments here. Oh, boy, let me run over here. Do my track number. All right, yes, ma'am.
Is this the only way you like to have sex, or is just one main way?
What about it? Is this it for you guys?
For me personally, I think it's the main way to have sex, but it varies from person to person.
I'm just wondering if it's because you never grew up, or why would you do it this way?
Yeah, we're going to talk to a sexologist about that. How do you perceive it?
I grew up. I'm a very responsible individual, and I think this brings balance into my life.
Where did you get all the big baby furniture?
Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't see that at the furniture store. Is that custom made? Is there a special market?
It was custom made for me.
Okay, well, we come back. You think this is interesting. We're going to come back and we're going to see a couple who enjoys a different kind of mummy ritual. But first, let's take a look at today's quiz question. What percentage of people fantasize during sex? We'll have the answer for you a little later on in the program. Stay with us. We're talking about people who are different sexually. We're trying to raise our consciousness, our understanding, and bridge some of these gaps, all right? Let's welcome Joseph Beam and Lily Braindrop. Lily, that's your real name?
No, some people have a nom de plume. I have a nom de punk.
A nom de punk, Braindrop. Okay, the two of you enjoy an erotic ritual called Mummification, another one I didn't learn in medical school. We're going to show some here what this is about, and this, do not try this at home. Okay, let's take a look.
This is called mummification. We want her to feel unable to move. And as with most forms of bondage, one of the games you're playing is about submission. And if you care for the person you're doing it with, or if they do it right under the right conditions, it's pretty erotic in both a sensual and an emotional way. When it is foreplay, the sex that follows may take place while all or part of the mummification is still in place, or it may take place in the high that follows when a person is suddenly liberated from the bondage and feeling all of those sensual and psychological things that we associate with the freedom to move. Doing the actual mummification under the right conditions is sex for me, so it's of course fun. But if you really look seriously at almost any sex act, it sure must look like a lot of work to species that don't do it. Is this a beautiful shape or what?
I don't think a heating duck to me. What do you think? Well, Lily, frankly, it looks scary to me. What does that feel like? Give us a little description.
Well, it is scary, and what I liken it to is it's kind of like a roller coaster of sex, where it is kind of scary, but ultimately it's safe. And it's very sexy. It's like being a hand in the ultimate glove.
Joseph, do you always prefer being the rappeur or the rappee? I mean, do you guys switch around? Or?
I used to be the rappee,
yeah.
But for the last 8 years or so, I only do the rapping, and it gets me high.
It does. Well, tell me about the sensation for you.
Well, being the one who does the rapping is at least obviously a power trip. I mean, you're taking away movement, you're taking away visibility, you're taking away senses of all sorts. But if you keep it going for a while, it can turn into a lot of other very happy things.
Yeah, I kind of want to ask you about that. I mean, that looks like pretty safe sex right there, and that must. I assume this is a prelude to other sexual acts.
Not necessarily. It can be the sex act itself, but very often there is genital sex following, or it could be genital sex that's part of it. You know, like you can cut a hole in there and play with any body part you like.
Dr. Davison is a sexologist. She's joined us, and Dr. Davison, is this different than just plain old-fashioned bondage, or is this the same as that?
Well, we call this the softer side of sadomasochism, bondage and discipline. A lot of people play this way. In fact, some of us here might fool around with old neckties, nylon stockings, and have a little exchange of power. Are
you asking them? I'll pull them. How about Tommy? This infantilism thing, is this a childhood that went wrong? We had a lot of audience members asking that. Is there some root for this that we can understand?
I think there is certainly a root. I think that as a child, my father never let me be all the things that I wanted to be. The softer parts of me. And I have the hard parts too.
Okay, why don't you stand up?
Well,
you're smiling.
I know, trying to get a grip of myself. I was just wondering, what is this person, the baby, like after, or how long does this baby act go on? Is it all day? Is it just for an hour or two? I mean, my husband doesn't even like to feed me breakfast in bed.
Yeah,
and here she is,
right.
She's got a high chair and a bed and everything.
Yeah, the whole works. So this doesn't go on in your daily lives. I mean, you lead normal adult lives.
That's correct.
Okay. Other thoughts here? Yeah.
I don't want to impose my sexual values onto other people, but to me, this kind of thing is kinky. I guess that's the word. And to be all wrapped up like that, I'd feel like I'd be suffocating or something. And as far as wearing diapers, I think that's great if you're incontinent.
Okay.
I think it's great. Whatever you want to do, that's fine. But nobody should impose their moralistic values on any of us.
I think that's important, isn't it? We're not saying, no one here thinks something like this should be outlawed or people like this. We are accepting. It's just not for us, okay? And I want to make sure you remember, this mummification thing. That's heavy-duty duct tape. You just don't fool around with that because that can be dangerous. All right, we come back. We're going to talk more with our audience and our guests, so stay tuned.
Mom's little helper help make a greasy, smelly mess.
Welcome back. We're trying to understand people who are sexually different. People with diaper fetishes, people who wrap each other up like mummies. But first, the answer to today's quiz. What percentage of people fantasize? Plain, simple fantasy during sex. 33, 50, 72, or 84? Right answer, 84% of people fantasize during sex. Okay, you had a question here. Just stand up for me.
Yes, I do. Are any of you married?
I was married.
I was married, but I'm not now.
I've never been married.
No.
Do you have children?
2 kids.
And what do your children, or do they know about this?
Yes, they do. My son knows everything, and my daughter knows something.
How old are your kids?
My son is 30.
Mm-hmm. How does he feel
And my
about
daughter
this?
is 26.
What are their feelings?
They don't mind at all. I was a very good father.
Whatever's okay for dad is okay for them. It's pretty open, huh? Yes, sir.
I have a question for Tom. You wear your diapers, obviously, right now in 24 hours. Do you actually use them, or is that just for sexual activity?
Somebody had to ask.
It would be rather hard to wear them 24 hours without using them, I think.
Yeah, I'd like to know what makes these people come on national television and expose their innermost sexual habits.
Because we live in
Is it
such...
you get your jollies that way?
Because, no, this is not an exhibitionistic foray for me. We live in such a sex-negative culture that anytime I can come out and validate for people that sex for pleasure is okay, I'll seize that opportunity.
Yeah, you're nodding. You agree with that.
I think that's great. I think she's absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people need to talk about it more and get it out more.
I think one of our purposes here is that, we do jail people, we condemn people, we discriminate against people who are sexually different. And this is kind of something so different. We're all starting afresh. It is shocking. I admit this is unusual to me, too. Run over here and get your questions. Yeah. Oops, excuse me.
What are the vital implications, the message that you're giving out to people who are unbalanced in the mind and they see this?
We stress when we do this kind of play that it's entirely consensual and that any kind of power dynamic that goes on between us is given up by our own will and taken back in good time.
Reach out there and grab it.
Thank you. All right. Is this always done with a script, this type of a thing, or do you ever have spontaneous sex without all of the wrapping and the diapers and so forth?
I have a lot of spontaneous sex, and sometimes I spontaneously feel that what I need to do is wrap my partner up real tight, and then I do.
How long does it take you to wrap a person?
About 25 minutes if I'm just getting it done. It can take a lot longer if I play as I go.
I guess that's long foreplay. Women complain of foreplay these days. The men take too quick.
But there are special newsletters to find people. Like there's the Diaper Pail newsletter. There are all the different SM groups. So people arrange these things in advance with someone who agrees to it.
Yeah.
Do you actually have a orgasm without having sexual intercourse, just by wrapping them and going through your foreplay?
Well, if he says yes, there's going to be a run on duct tape.
No, actually, I usually don't, although it has happened more than once,
I've got
but
to
it's
tell
rare.
you, though, when you're mummified, because you're so sensorially deprived, when the mummification comes off, you are so sensitive that if you have a especially sensitive neck to being kissed, your neck is real sensitive to being kissed, orgasm.
Tommy, quickly, the best thing about infantilism, about being a baby, the best thing, what do you like the most?
I think is just the feeling of letting these feelings out of you, experiencing the softness, being cared for, being taken care of, and the sensualness of the diaper change.
Dr. Davison, help us understand in our conclusion here. This is okay. These are people aren't sick or warped or twisted. These are okay people.
Right. These people are expressing fantasies, and as we have just heard, a lot of us have our fantasies. They're doing it in a loving relationship and taking care of each other, not to do harm, which is what we always emphasize, being careful. And there are even classes and demonstrations through some of the clubs so people can learn how to live out these fantasies if they want to.
Times they've changed, huh? Well, I want to thank you, Dr. Davison, Tommy, Michelle, Joseph, and Lily for being with us, sharing your stories, and we'll be right back in a moment.
Where is thought?
Well, you've seen and heard some very different sexual behaviors today. Frankly, on purpose. Now, a lot of this stuff truly amazes me as much as it does you. But let's remember, these people act out their sexual preferences privately and without harming anyone. Makes them feel good, and maybe that's okay. If you were skeptical at first, I hope that today's discussion has given you an appreciation for men's and women's complexities. We human beings are pretty colorful characters, and thank goodness for those differences in us. Makes life a lot more interesting, doesn't it? Well, now before we go, let's take a look at today's home video house call.
My name is Elaine Joyce, doctor, and I'd like to know how loud noises, for instance, the noises that you hear in the city, buses, trucks, what have you, affect the human body adversely.
Listen to that horn. Elaine, noise is a very important pollutant, but we're only learning how it affects us. I saw a study recently where men and women were compared, and women don't react to traffic as badly as men do. With men, the blood pressure goes up, our heart rates go up, so something about women makes them better prepared to handling it. Of course, you know about ear damage, so we got to do something about noise pollution in our future, and it definitely can affect your health. All right, that's our show for today. I'm Dr. Dean Adele. We'll see you next time. Until then, be well.
Be a video star on the Dr. Dean Show. If there's a health question you'd like answered, shoot your own home video house call and send it to Dr. Dean, Post Office Box 2048, San Francisco, California, 94126. All tapes become the property of ABDL Fish Runs Productions and cannot be returned. Show.